Hey guys, I just came to a revelation, okay? So you know the video that I posted today, you are an overgiver? I want to just clarify something about that video as well. When, in that video I spoke about a specific situation that I saw in my dream, right? And how it woke me up. Like, it really gave me a huge revelation of things, right? But I want you guys to understand that being an overgiver does not also mean materialistic things. Being an overgiver can be your time to someone, your energy to someone. You know what I mean? Your love to someone. Yeah, we're supposed to love people wholeheartedly and unapologetically and authentically. But sometimes you can be overbearing your love to someone who doesn't appreciate it. Do you get what I'm saying? You could be literally pouring your heart out to someone who does not appreciate your love at all, and they could take advantage of that. That happens a lot in relationships, etc. I had a revelation this evening because I was reflecting back on that video. Because I'm like, man, I started thinking about the patterns of being an overgiver. When you're an overgiver, it can also be associated with people pleasing. Like that is something that could be associated with people pleasing, because especially if you are someone that has always been trying to receive love from people, right? And you want love from people because if you have genuine intentions, genuine motives for people, and you love people wholeheartedly, you expect the same. So when you are overly giving to people, whether it's your time, your energy, or something materialistic, it's like you do it because you love to do it. But at the same time, that also stems from trauma as well. You know what I mean? Listen, there's a lot of reasons why God isolates us from people. But I feel like that's also one of the reasons why God does isolate his children, is because you may have such a big of a heart. People take advantage of you. And this may have been happening since you were a child. Every friendship you've been in, every relationship you've been in, family members, it's like even strangers, people may just take advantage of you. And because people take advantage of you, it's a longevity of pattern, of a cycle. And when God isolates you, there's many reasons why God isolates you, but this is probably one of the reasons, because God is like, okay, because I know your heart and I know you're an overgiver, I need to pull you away from certain people, because it's like being thrown in an ocean full of sharks. You know what I mean? It's like you being a fish, the one fish thrown in the ocean full of sharks. Literally, everyone's gonna want to take a bite off you, right? So, because people see that you're that kind of person, oftentimes you always get yourself into trouble because of this. So if you notice it's a pattern, and this has been something that you've been battling your whole life since you were small, and it's happened with everybody around you, it probably got to a point where people that were abusing you were still overly giving to the very people that were abusing you. It's like a cycle. It's like, because, especially when you're in a narcissistic relationship, or you have a narcissist in your family, it's like, if that person is abusing you and verbally abusing you, emotionally, mentally abusing you, you may think, okay, if I do this for this person, if I clean the house for this person, it might make them happy. Or if I buy this person this gift or give this person this money, it might make them happy. And it's like you're the one experiencing abuse, yet you're looking for ways on how to please the person, to make them happy, just so you don't continue going through that abuse. Now, because that's a pattern since childhood, now in your teenage years, you may have been doing the same pattern in high school. You may be that kid who's buying everybody lunch. You may be that kid who's always sharing their lunch with people. You may be that kid that's always giving their time to people, or you know what I mean? Because you don't want to be bullied, because you were bullied in elementary school. So in high school, you have to give your love to everybody. You know what I mean? You want to be helpful to everybody because you don't want to be bullied anymore. Right? And then it stems into your adult years now, where you go into a relationship and that person's abusing you, and because that person's abusing you, you want to do things to please that partner. So before that partner even marries you, or before he even or she even shows you any type of love, whether you're male or female, it's like you may be buying a bunch of gifts for that person. You may be doing wifey things or husband things for that person because you're trying to prove your love to them, because you want it back, or you want to avoid there being any abuse. So it's kind of like you're trying to please them as much as possible to avoid any abuse, or to avoid them leaving you, or avoid them breaking up with you. Now that stems into other relationships, people that you're meeting in public, people that you're meeting at school or work, or you get what I'm saying? So when you start to focus on God and he pulls you away from people, and you start to reflect on things, it's like there's no one really around you for you to overgive to. Do you get it? It's like all that love you're giving to humans and giving to other people, all that overgiving that you're giving to other people, now you have to give that to God, because when you're in isolation, it's just you and God. It's you and God. So as much as you pour into people who didn't deserve your love, or you pour into people who didn't respect you or love you, put that same energy into God. Because now when you're isolated from everybody, and you can reflect and you start to see what's really going on in your life and the patterns, you start to realize, wow, God, all these times I was doing this for that person, that person, that person, and the whole time you were here for me, the whole time you never abandoned me, the whole time you loved me without finding fault. The whole time, God, you loved me without finding fault. Yet every single person that I tried to love and tried to be there for and tried to give to, they found fault. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like I came to that revelation. I'm like, whoa, that revelation just hit me. Like, I'm just like, whoa, this is no wonder why God has to isolate us, because he has to snap some sense into us. He has to snap some sense into us. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with giving to people. And like I said, it doesn't have to be materialistic things. I'm talking about time, energy, love, money, whatever it is you give them. There's nothing wrong with giving to people, as long as you pray to God and God says it's okay for you to give to that person, fine. But a lot of times when we were overgivers, we did not pray to God and ask God. We just gave. We didn't pray to God. We didn't have discernment to be like, God, should I give to this person? Should I not give to this person? God, should I talk to this person? Should I not talk to this person? Should I go out with this person? Should I not go out with this person? Like, we never even brought these types of conversations to God, because we were so quick to do it, because we wanted to be there for everybody. We wanted to be that shoulder. We wanted to be that kind person, right? And this is why a lot of us ended up in the predicaments that we were in. This is why a lot of us were hurt. This is why a lot of us got our heart broken, because we had high expectations of people, because we gave them high expectations. Now that you go into like the isolation with God, you start to understand, like, yeah, there's so many reasons why you isolate us, God, from people, to protect us and all of that. And because, we're set apart. But this is a quality that we have that's very unique as well. Because the world today is selfish. The world today is selfish. The world today, there's a lot of evil people. There's a lot of people who will take your kindness for weakness. There's a lot of people who will hate you for no reason. There's a lot of people who will, manipulate you. There's a lot of that happening, right? And like I said, when you are someone with a big heart and you are an overgiver, you're like a fish being thrown in the ocean full of sharks. Everyone wants to bite off you, right? But when God isolates you, it's like you start to learn discipline. You know what I mean? You start to learn discernment. Because now it's just you and God. You understand discernment. You understand discipline. If God did not isolate you from people, you probably wouldn't be able to hear his voice properly. You probably wouldn't be able to discern properly. Why? Because there's too much distraction. There's too much distraction. You see what I'm saying? So God will isolate you so you can focus on him and focus on his voice. And then you can also strengthen your faith, strengthen your discernment. So when you come out of isolation, or now when you are, able to associate with people or talk to people again, you're a lot more smarter than before. You're not being taken advantage of like before. Because here's what I noticed. When God puts you in isolation, one thing I notice about God is he will start to reveal all your flaws to you. He'll reveal all your flaws to you, right? He will also start to reveal the patterns and the cycles of your life. I don't know about everybody else, but I know when I went through isolation, God did that. He started revealing all the patterns, all the cycles, because we have to unlearn certain patterns and traits to be able to relearn through Christ, right? And let me tell you something. If God has plans to prosper you and not to harm you, and if he has a purpose for you, if he would have allowed you, being that overgiver, to continue being around all the people that mistreated you, used you, abused you, if he allowed you to continue being around all these people while he was prospering you and blessing you, these people would continue taking from your cup. So your cup would never be full, because every time you pour in your cup, someone's taking it. Every time you pour in, someone's taking it, someone's taking it, someone's taking it. So how's your cup going to overflow if everyone's taken from the cup before it even gets to the top to overflow, right? So he has to pull you away from people. He has to teach you. He has to get you to unlearn certain things to teach you new things through him, right? He has to teach you about discernment, self-reflect, your gifts, right? And he also has to protect that heart, because if he allows you to continue being around the sharks or the wolves, you may end up becoming cold-hearted like most of the world today. So he has to protect that heart of yours, what's left of that heart of yours. You see what I'm saying? Or he has to renew it, right? And then what he has to do is, while you are away in isolation period, he starts to fill your cup up. And the cup is going to continue being full. Cup is going to continue to fill up, because there's no one taking from it. There's no one stealing from it. There's no one manipulating to take from it, right? So now that that cup is starting to fill up, it's going to be able to overflow. And now that it's overflowed, God can put you where you need to be, and he can tell you who to give to, because your cup is overflowed. So now when you give to someone, he's repouring back into it. You see what I'm saying? So your cup is never gonna be empty, because you're giving to who he's telling you to give to. I'm not talking about just materialistic or money. I'm talking about everything. Love, your energy, your time, okay? Finances, whatever it is that he tells you to give to people, you can give freely from that, because now your cup is not gonna be empty. Your cup is not gonna run dry giving to someone else. That's why it's important to pray to God and ask God who to give to. So that way your cup doesn't run dry. You get what I'm saying? But that's the revelation that I got, like how he did have to isolate many of us as well. One of the reasons why he isolates us is because we were too overgiving. There was no way our cup was going to be filled up if we kept pouring out of it without it being refilled. How can God refill your cup if you haven't even learned discernment, you haven't even learned everything that he's trying to teach you? And all that learning comes with isolation, right? All that learning comes with isolation. So how could he teach you? How could he continue to fill your cup up if you haven't even went into that isolation period for him to teach you to fill that cup up? So what would have happened was your cup would have been empty. And an analogy of this is, many of you guys, I know that before you went into your isolation, when you were around certain people, you probably had a hard time going to school. You probably had a hard time saving. You probably had a hard time with a lot of that. You probably had friends that wanted to go out every weekend, drink. You probably had friends that wanted to just, spend. And you had a hard time saving. You had a hard time, and you may have been that friend that's always paying for things, that's always having everyone's back. You may have been that friend as well, or that family member, right? And you were not able to ever, fill your cup back up because of it. So you're always you always had a little bit in your cup, or your cup was always dry because of that. And ever since you went into isolation, away from certain people, you notice that your cup was starting to fill up. And you're like, whoa, my cup is starting to fill up. This is why many of you guys get attacked. Because many of the people that are attacking you are the ones who tried to take from your cup, are the ones that tried to keep your cup empty. Many of the witches and warlocks that attacked you in your family because you're breaking generational curses, they didn't want your cup to be filled. Because why? They know they can't take from it. Because why? They know that during your isolation period, God was going to expose who they are. Right? So they know they can't take from that cup. Same thing with friends. You may have had friends that attacked you, tarnished your name, tarnished your character, all because they know they can't take from your cup anymore. You see what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with being an overgiver, like I said, as long as God confirms who you're giving to. You see what I mean? You notice how, for those of you guys relationship-wise, you notice how you may have been in very toxic relationships in the past where you were doing so much for that man or so much for that woman, yet they never loved you back. They probably hurt you, they probably cheat on you, and you were doing everything you can to show them love. That's being an overgiver. And you notice how ever since you went into your isolation period with God, you noticed how you found self-love. You love yourself too much to go through that again. And now you know that you're never going to put up with that type of relationship again. Why? Because you went through that isolation period to come to your senses. You know? So, yeah, the isolation period definitely is what is also meant to break us free from that people-pleasing cycle, from being that overgiver. Also, being an overgiver, it will make people resent you. It will make people start to resent you when you're an overgiver. Because I don't know if you guys been in like friendships where like you're always doing something for that friend and you don't care. You just do it from the kindness of your heart. That friend may start resenting you. You know what I mean? That friend may start hating on you. And it's not because you did anything wrong, but it's literally because of your heart. It's literally because of your heart. Same thing with relationships. You ever been in a relationship where like you're doing so much for your partner doesn't really do much for you, but you're doing so much for them, you're buying things for them, you're cooking for them, whatever the situation may be, that partner may end up resenting you. Because why? They're not clean in the heart. When someone's not clean in their heart, they will resent all the love that you're giving them. They will resent you for that. They will, because it's a reflection. They're mistreating you, yet you're still giving to them. They're mistreating you, yet you're still loving them. You're still cooking for them. You're still doing whatever to please them, but they're mistreating you. It makes them dislike you even more. It makes them resent you even more. Same with that friend. That friend could be hating on you, doesn't like you, and you're consistently just giving to them. Deep down in their heart, they know they don't like you, and it makes them feel bad that you're still giving to them, even though they know they don't like you. And then it makes them dislike you even more, because they don't like the way they feel about themselves. You see what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Kill people with kindness. That's probably what happens. It's like you may be so nice to people, so kind to people. It's like they start to resent you. Even then, they may even start thinking that your kindness isn't real, or your kindness your kindness is fake. They might start thinking that your kindness is fake. You see what I'm saying? But really and truly, that's just the kind of person you are. Right? So when God isolates you, it's like he's saving you from all these problems, right? He's saving you from more heartache. He's saving you from resentment. He's saving you from rejection. He's saving you from abandonment. It's like he's teaching you discernment. He's teaching you trust. He's teaching you boundaries. It's like he's teaching you all these things because you were overly giving to people, which ultimately always landed you in some sort of trouble. He's teaching you, he's saving you from being taken advantage of. You know what I mean? This is one of the reasons why God isolates you. It's not the main reason, but it's one of the main reasons. Because you're an overgiver. You know what I mean? Anyways, I love you guys. Bye.